All right, it's Toby from Heavyweight MMA. Today with Diego Pereira, who's fighting on an upcoming show, Eternal MMA 75, May 6 on the Gold Coast. How are you feeling leading up to the fight, brother?
Hey, man, Toby, good to be with you as always. Man, I feel, I give you the same stuff every time, but you know what it is. It's like we train a lot, so the body's feeling it, but mentally, I'm ready to go. So, can't wait.
I was going to ask you, man, you've had your career's had its ups and downs, man. Last fight you lost to Justin Van Heeden. How do you get your head around that to get back in there again?
It's business as usual. It wasn't nothing. It's just another day. You work hard towards it. You plan, you prepare. You get out there with the best intentions, with the plan, and you try to apply it. If things don't go your way, nothing to it. You don't take it personally. You just learn to see it as an obstacle on the way, and go back to the drawing board, learn from what can be learned from, and on to the next.
Man, it shows a strength of character, to deal with those losses and just kick on with it and keep training, man. Like it's a hard sport as it is, just hard training, and then you got to go through those emotional turmoil of having your wins and having your losses, man, and still keep going, keep striving for the goals, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy to do that. This is something that you learn. Like I remember my first loss, I cried. I was crying like a baby. I just couldn't understand it. I thought I should win and whatever. But you come to understand as you go that, man, other people are working hard too. Other people have abilities. Other people have plans. Other people have support. Other people are wanting to be the best also, and they also believe so. It's a constant clash of wills and athletic ability and just gift and hard work and all that. So you got to come across some other killers, and unfortunately, you can't win them all. It's just the way it is, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, because without those hard battles, man, you can't really improve and reach your true potential. And I find, and not only my own experience, but also when you look on the record books, some of the best that's ever been, they'll tell you it's like they've only became the best because of some tough challenge or struggle that they went through, whether it was in their personal life or in the ring or in the cage or whatever. They had to face that, challenge them, and that made them see things a different way or change something that they weren't doing or whatever, and that made them better. So having these hard fights has definitely made me better, and every time I go in there, I show it. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to go in there again May 6th and showcase how much better I have become.
Yeah, man, definitely develops you as a fighter and as a person, right? It strengthens you, calluses you, right? And you go out stronger. Man, you talked about the killers you come up against. This time you're facing Jesse Funky Cold Medina. You know, when you meet this guy, he's such a nice guy. He's not a killer. He's a competitive guy that likes competing, and he's more about that than being a killer like some fighters are. You know, how does it go, man? Does it change anything facing a guy like that just seems like a pretty nice guy rather than like a competitive nice guy rather than someone that you have some sort of rivalry with or whatever?
I don't think it changes anything, man. If anything, I feel those nice guys, the quiet guys, are the most dangerous ones. The ones that are student of the game. He's a competitor. Of course, he's been around for over a decade. He's been a pro for longer than that. So the dude has experience. That's why he's learned, and there's no reason to be a killer. Obviously, you got to have that killer instinct when it comes time to kill and have to be finishing and stuff like that, and kind of smell blood and go for the kill. But I would argue that it's best to cool, calm, and collected for the most part. And I feel like Jesse Medina has a lot of those qualities given his experience. So I don't see it any different, man. At the end of the day, he's a competitor like myself. He's out there striving to challenge himself and become better and achieve new heights and new levels, just like me. So I respect him for that. But when it comes down to it, he's going to be the middle cross for me, and I'm going to see him just like everybody else, as a challenge and as an obstacle that I have to go through. So
Yeah, man. And you just mentioned then about him being an old guy, old school guy. He's been around for a while, like nearly 10 years. He's had 27 fights all up versus your 15. Do you think that'll be a factor at all?
Well, listen, like I said, it can definitely be a factor. I'm definitely not over that. Having experience is a big deal in this game, because only through it can you learn and become better. So, and he's shown that. He's shown that he's evolved with each fight. Studying him, you can see it. But it's a different game when you verse different people with different skill sets and styles and stuff like that. MMA math is weird, but when you look at it stylistically, his style versus mine and what we bring to the table, it's going to be a very hard task for him to even given his experience, he's going to have to jump through a lot of hurdles to beat me if he can. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm excited because he's experienced. So it's not going to be easy to get him out of there. So I'm going to have to pick him and pick him for as long as I have to, and eventually I'll put him away.
Bro, like again, mentioning the date, Eternal MMA 75, May 6 on the Gold Coast, fighting Jesse Medina. How do you foresee the fight? Like, what do you think will happen? How do you think it will play out across the rounds?
It's an MMA fight, anything can happen. It's I feel we're both pretty well rounded. He's a strong grappler, given his previous fights, and when you look at it, he's always like to grapple people, take him down, and look for submissions. Most of his victories have come by the way of submission, um, and next to that is decisions. Doesn't have a whole ton of power in KO finishes. Um, he's durable. It's hard to get him out of there. Hasn't been finished a ton of times. So it's always 50-50 out there, really. It's like we both have skills. We're both sort of young and hungry. But I see it as me just being fast and just hard for him to read. Um, and the intangibles when it comes down to it, I feel I'm um, harder to kill, literally. You're gonna try everything. You can look at my best fights. You can do everything. You can have me in the worst positions, and you can't get me out of there. So I have tremendous heart, and I'm sure he does too. But when it comes down to it, I feel I edge him out on this fact. So I think um, when we look at overall striking ability, fight IQ, heart, tenacity, grit, and being able to face adversity, come back, and just keep pushing forward and all that stuff, and even wrestling and grappling, um, I believe I get the better of him in that aspect. All he's got going for him is experience, and so at the end of the day, I feel as the fight goes on, I'm going to get more of my reads, see what he's bringing, pick him, face adversity if I have to, come out of that, and ultimately finishing him in the third. I feel late.
What are you foreseeing as a finish, bro? If you're seeing finish in striking or grappling, or either?
That's a good question. Like I said, I'm extremely well rounded. I don't have any specific thing that I'm going to be looking for, and I'm going to pick him. Very likely that I'll hurt him on the feet and potentially TKO him on the ground. But in the wrestling exchanges, I may also reverse the positions and submit him. So we're both strong rappers and strikers, so it's going to be interesting. But I foresee it being a TKO finish.
Yeah, man. Good, good. I was just going to ask that you're training in the Fight Centre Brisbane, right?
I'm sort of I'm there as well
Yeah,
as Southside Center.
yeah. So, to anything new in the training for this camp, bro? Have you added anything lately that you didn't last time when you fought Justin? Anything changed?
Man, I spent a week um, over at City Kickboxing
Oh, awesome.
just prior to Israel Adesanya going off to fight his last fight. My teammate Benny Johnston, he was brought over to help Easy with his camp, and we got the opportunity. Myself and four other teammates, we went over there and we got to train for a week. So that was very good for us. So I learned a lot. Of course, they had some great bodies there, some great skilled people that would challenge you. So that was very good to get some rounds in there and learn some stuff to some tremendous notes. that I'm studying and implementing. So there's a lot to it, man. But without giving much away, it's just a lot of studying outside of training itself. Just you know, more about the specifics. Okay, we've got this guy. How do we apply and what? How do we match up? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? This is what we didn't do so well in the last one. Let's look at it this way. Let's apply it this way. We could have done it did better this way if you had done that. So a lot more studying, looking at it more from a theoretical perspective and strategic perspective, as opposed to just grind without much purpose. So I feel like I have a lot of structure in my training right now, and definitely a lot more strategy behind the things that I'm learning and doing. So having Benny Johnston, having gone to City Kickboxing, training at the Fight Center, training with Self Training Center, having um, this variety of coaches that I can learn from definitely helps. So yeah.
Man, training at CKB. I know these guys have like a particular system that they learn, and I heard people say that you can't just go in there and learn anything much in a short time. Like obviously you can go there, get looks and get some little tips, and spar and move with some cool people. Would you ever consider going there to kind of pick up their system? Which obviously it takes some sort of time to go over there. Like I guess you'd be looking at like months to years, etc.
No, you're right. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, you can definitely not expect to pick up a whole lot in a week. Um, and you know, I'm definitely going back for more. But given that I only stayed there a week, I still feel like I learned a lot and picked up quite a bit. And having a training partner like Benny Johnson, who spent more time over there, and we train together on a daily. He's in contact with those guys on a daily. So I pick his brain and we just basically execute here at home. But you're right. Definitely don't feel like I know their system. Uh, but just being there and soaking up the knowledge and just being around those guys that all those just helps. It rubs off on you. So you're right. So I'll definitely go back in the future.
Awesome, man. Hey, earlier on we spoke. I think it was the end of 2022, man. You mentioned that your goal was to try and jump into UFC if you had any chance early in the year. Obviously, resetting the goals after that's gone and passed. What's your goal now for 2023, bro?
Just get back on the win column. That's what you need. What needs to be done in this business. It's whatever happens in the past is in the past. You just got to recognize it, learn from it, and look forward. Looking ahead, I've got May 6th, Jesse Medina, taking him out puts me back in the win column, and then just continuing that win streak is what puts me on a good track, good eyes of everyone around me. So opportunities come this business through that. So that's what I need to be done, and I will get that done May 6th. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Man, I know people say don't look past your current opponent, but are there anyone you have in your sights after Medina?
Nah, not really. There's nobody, man. I'm just solely focused on this guy and just doing my best to execute and go out there and put on the best show I can in the main event against Jesse Medina, and I believe we will.
Bro, you're 1-1 with Van Heerden, bro. You ever think about trying to take that third fight with him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's definitely something that can happen. Um, it's part of the sport. We won him one. I finished him. He tried everything, couldn't finish me, and how that last ended, I was seconds away from finishing him. The bell rung. Um, so it just depends what happens, man. With the sport, you never know. He's got a fight booked against Rod Costa. Who knows what's gonna happen in that fight? I've got my fight coming up. Who knows what's gonna happen in that fight? So, given what happens with this, time goes on, but I'm definitely, that's definitely something that we can try to do. I'm looking forward to it. If that happens, if the opportunity presents itself, I'll jump on it.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for your time again. Best of luck at Eternal 75, May 6th, Gold Coast, man. I'll be tuning in and supporting, bro.
Awesome, man. I appreciate the support as always. Thank you, sir.
Cool. Thanks, bro. Catch you next time. Good luck.